The conference room falls silent. Every eye turns to me as my ex-husband's voice cuts through the air like a knife I thought I'd buried years ago. I watch Marcus Hartwell's face drain of color as the words land like thunder in the center of the ballroom. "Sorry I'm late," the voice says beside me, warm and steady and impossible. "I couldn't miss my wife's night." "Wife?" Someone gasps. A champagne flute actually slips from someone's hand, the crystal shattering against marble. Marcus Hartwell, the man who once told me I'd never amount to anything, stares at me like I've just materialized from another dimension. "You're married." He chokes out the words. Adrian Stone, the billionaire CEO standing beside me with his hand resting protectively on my shoulder, doesn't even glance at Marcus. His eyes are only on me. 20 months, he says quietly, his voice carrying that particular confidence that comes from never having to prove anything to anyone. "Best decision I ever made." The woman across from me, Marcus's fiancée, has both hands pressed to her mouth. The senior partners at my table have frozen mid-conversation. And Richard Morrison, the man who just handed me the highest honor our firm has ever given, is staring at us like he's trying to solve an impossible equation. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, aren't we? Laugh softly, let me take you back. Because sometimes the moments that change everything begin in the most ordinary ways. Please subscribe and like this video and listen to my story till the end. Let me know which city you're listening from. I want to see how far my story has traveled. Your support means everything. The valet takes my keys and I'm already second-guessing this entire evening. The Grand Meridian Ballroom entrance practically glows with that particular kind of wealth that makes you check your reflection 3 times. I smooth down the silk of my navy gown, elegant, understated. I didn't come here to turn heads. I came because my senior partner, Catherine, called in a favor, and honestly, I owe her everything. Inside, crystal chandeliers cast soft light across tables dressed in ivory linens. White roses and gold-dipped branches serve as centerpieces. This is the Morrison & Associates Annual Achievement Gala. 27 years of corporate excellence celebrated in one room. Deals worth millions get made here over butter-poached lobster and dry-aged ribeye. I scan the crowd for Catherine's distinctive silver hair. She said she'd meet me at the entrance, but I don't see her anywhere. My phone buzzes. Running late. Nightmare traffic. Find our table west side near the stage. You'll see the name cards. Sorry, darling. I slip my phone back into my clutch and start moving through clusters of designer suits and evening gowns. That's when I see him. Marcus Hartwell stands near the bar with 2 men I don't recognize, laughing at something one of them just said. His hand rests on a crystal tumbler like he owns the entire building. Maybe he does now, I stopped keeping track. Our divorce was 4 years ago. Clean, quick, no drama in the courtroom. Just the kind that happens when someone decides you're not enough for the life they're building. His eyes catch mine across 30 feet of polished marble. The laugh dies on his face. I don't stop walking. Don't change direction. I head toward the table markers on the west wall, my heels clicking steadily against the floor. I can feel his stare following me the entire way. "Emma." His voice reaches me before he does. I turn slowly. He's already closed half the distance, moving with that easy confidence I once mistook for strength. "I didn't know you'd be here," he says. But his tone suggests he wishes I wasn't. "Catherine asked me to attend," I reply simply. "Business dinner?" His gaze travels from my face down to my gown and back up again. That look, God, I remember it now. The one that catalogs and files you under insufficient. "Still at Morrison then?" he asks. "Still consulting?" "Yes." He nods slowly and something cold creeps into his smile. "The consulting thing. How's that working out for you?" The condescension is so subtle that anyone overhearing might miss it. But I don't. "It's working," I say evenly. "I'm glad. Really I am." His smile doesn't reach his eyes. "You always needed something manageable. After everything. After everything." As if my breakdown during our marriage was a character flaw instead of a response to being slowly erased. "I hope you enjoy your evening, Marcus." I turn before he can respond and continue toward the tables. My hands are steady. My expression is calm. But inside my chest is tight. I find table 9 near the center of the room, close enough to the stage that I'll have to look engaged during speeches. The name cards are printed in elegant script, Emma Sterling, Catherine Reynolds, David Chan, Sarah Monroe, 2 other names I don't recognize. I sit. Adjust my napkin across my lap. Breathe. That's her. A voice behind me. I don't turn around, but it carries clearly. Yeah, Marcus replies. He's standing 1 table over. We were married. Years ago. What happened? Someone asks. There's a pause. Then Marcus says, his voice so casual it makes my stomach turn. She couldn't keep up. Some people are built for ambition, you know. Others just aren't. I needed someone who wanted more. I focus on the menu card in front of me. Pan-seared halibut with lemon beurre blanc. Prime ribeye with truffle demi-glace. Vegetarian option available upon request. The words blur slightly. Not from tears, I'm past that. But from the fresh humiliation of being reduced to a footnote in someone else's success story. Have you ever been in a room where someone tried to make you feel invisible? Drop a comment below. I see you. A waiter appears beside me, and I'm about to order when I notice her, Marcus's new fiancée, gliding toward his table in a dress that costs more than my first car. She has no idea what she's walking into, and what happens next changes everything. The waiter appears beside me. Good evening. May I start you with something to drink? Water, please, I manage. Still. He nods and disappears. I pull out my phone, send Catherine a text. You owe me for this. Her response is immediate. I know. 10 minutes away. Hang in there. The ballroom continues to fill. A woman in a champagne-colored gown sits across from me and offers a polite smile. I return it. Her date leans in, whispers something, and they both glance toward Marcus's table, then back at me. I know what they're wondering. Why is she here? 12 minutes pass. The noise level rises as more guests arrive. Conversations about market trends and quarterly projections swirl around me like smoke. I sip my water and try to look like I belong. Then I see her. A woman in a sleek emerald dress approaches Marcus's table. She's young, polished, with that particular confidence that comes from never having been told you're not enough. Marcus stands immediately, pulls out her chair, kisses her cheek. She sits and he introduces her to the men at his table. I can't hear the words, but I see their reactions. Congratulations. Handshakes. Approving nods. That's Vanessa Sinclair, the woman across from me says quietly. I glance at her. She leans forward conspiratorially. Marcus Hartwell's fiancée. Apparently the wedding is this fall. Somewhere in the Hamptons, I heard. Good for them, I say neutrally. You know Marcus? We were acquainted a long time ago. She nods, satisfied, and returns to her own conversation. I watch as Vanessa laughs at something Marcus says. She touches his arm. He beams. This is what he wanted, someone who makes him look successful. Someone who reflects well on him. I was never that for him. Catherine finally arrives, breathless, her silver shawl slipping off one shoulder. Emma, darling, I'm so sorry. Traffic was absolutely nightmarish and then my phone died and I couldn't even call. She stops, studies my face. Are you all right? I'm fine. She doesn't believe me, but she's too gracious to push. Well, you look absolutely stunning. That dress is perfect on you. Thank you. She glances toward the stage where Richard Morrison is adjusting a microphone. They're starting the program soon. Are you ready? Ready for? Her eyes widen. Oh God. Did Richard not tell you? Tell me what? Before she can answer, the lights dim slightly. Richard Morrison steps onto the stage in a charcoal suit, his silver hair perfectly styled. He taps the microphone. Good evening, everyone. I'm Richard Morrison, and on behalf of Morrison & Associates, welcome to our 27th Annual Achievement Gala. Polite applause ripples through the ballroom. Tonight, we celebrate excellence, innovation, and the brilliant minds who've helped shape our firm's legacy over the past quarter century. He begins listing names, CEOs, board members, a federal judge who sits on some committee I've never heard of. People clap at appropriate intervals. Then Richard pauses, glances at his notes, and smiles. And of course, we are extraordinarily honored to have Adrian Stone joining us tonight. The room shifts. Conversations halt mid-sentence. Heads turn toward the entrance. I feel the change in energy immediately, like the air pressure just dropped. Adrian Stone, founder and CEO of Stone Global Enterprises. Estimated net worth somewhere north of $9 billion. The man who turned a failing tech startup into a worldwide infrastructure empire before he turned 36. The man I married 20 months ago. My pulse quickens. He wasn't supposed to be here. He's in Tokyo 4 days of back-to-back meetings with international investors. I talked to him this morning and he said he wouldn't make it back in time. But there he is, walking through the ballroom doors like gravity just rearranged itself to let him pass. He's wearing a charcoal suit, no tie. His dark hair is slightly tousled, probably from the flight. He moves with a kind of calm, absolute authority that doesn't need to announce itself. People simply know. The ballroom parts for him. Richard Morrison descends from the stage, hand extended, practically glowing. Mr. Stone, we're so honored you could join us. Adrian shakes his hand briefly, politely. Thank you for the invitation. But his eyes are already scanning the room. Scanning for me. Catherine grips my arm. Emma, she whispers urgently. Is that actually Adrian Stone? Yes. What is he doing here? I don't answer because I don't know. We agreed to keep our marriage private. He attends his events, I attend mine, and we keep our personal life separate from our professional reputations. It's worked perfectly for 20 months. Until now. Our eyes meet across 60 feet of space and 36 tables. The world narrows, his gaze and mine. Everything else fades into background noise. He doesn't smile, doesn't wave, doesn't acknowledge anyone else in the room. He just starts walking. Directly toward my table. Toward me. Catherine inhales sharply. Emma, he's coming this way. I know. Why is he coming this way? I don't answer. Can't answer. My heart is pounding so loudly I'm sure the entire table can hear it. Marcus has noticed now. I see him in my peripheral vision, sitting up straighter, watching Adrian's path through the room. Vanessa is watching too, her perfectly shaped eyebrows drawn together in confusion. Adrian reaches table 9. He stops beside my chair. His hand settles gently on my shoulder, warm and steady and familiar. And when I look up, there's something in his eyes that the rest of this room will never see. Relief. Tenderness. Home. Sorry I'm late, he says quietly. Then louder so the tables around us can hear clearly, he says it. I couldn't miss my wife's night. The word detonates. Wife, what would you do if your billionaire husband showed up like this? Tell me in the comments. Someone gasps. A fork clatters against china. And Marcus makes a sound somewhere between a cough and a choke. But what Adrian does next, it changes everything I thought I knew about being seen. Adrian pulls out the empty chair beside me and sits down like he does this every day. Like walking into a corporate gala and publicly claiming me as his wife is the most natural thing in the world. His hand finds mine under the table. Our fingers lace together and the gesture is so practiced, so automatic, that it tells everyone watching exactly how real this is. You said you were in Tokyo, I murmur. I was, he says. I got on a plane. Adrian, you didn't have to. Yes, I did. His thumb brushes across my knuckles. You think I'd let you do this alone? Catherine is staring at us with her mouth open. Emma. You're married to Adrian Stone? It's not a question, but she needs confirmation. Yes, I say quietly. 20 months now. 20 months. Catherine's voice goes up an octave. You've been married for 20 months and you didn't tell me? Adrian speaks before I can. That's my fault, Mrs. Reynolds. My wife values her privacy, and she wanted her work to stand on its own merit, not be associated with my name. The implication lands perfectly. Emma didn't need the Stone name to succeed. She did it herself. Richard Morrison has returned to the stage, but he's watching our table now with naked curiosity. His entire speech has been derailed. Across the room, Marcus is still staring. His face has gone from pale to flushed. Vanessa is watching him with growing concern. The senior partner beside Catherine, David Chun, recovers first. He extends his hand across the table. Mr. Stone, it's an honor to meet you. David Chun, senior partner in corporate restructuring. Adrian shakes his hand. The honor is mine. I followed your work on the Callahan acquisition. Impressive negotiation. David looks stunned that Adrian knows who he is. Thank you. That means a great deal coming from you. The first course arrives. roasted beet salad with goat cheese and candied walnuts. The waiters move through the room with choreographed precision, but I can feel eyes on us from every direction. Whispered conversations are happening at every table now. I catch fragments. Did he say wife? Emma Sterling is married to Adrian Stone? How did nobody know? She's been consulting here for 3 years. How did we not know? Adrian leans close to me. Are you okay? I'm processing. I know this wasn't the plan. You think. I keep my voice light, but my heart is still racing. I couldn't stay away. His voice drops lower, meant only for me. I landed 3 hours ago. Came straight from the airport because I knew he'd be here. Marcus. Yes. Adrian's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. And I know you can handle yourself. I know you don't need me to fight your battles. But I'll be damned if I let you sit here alone while he tries to make you feel small. My throat tightens. Oh, I hate these events, I whisper. I know you do. I only came because Catherine asked. I know that too. He squeezes my hand under the table. But you're here now. And so am I. So let's get through this together. Catherine is still staring at us like we've grown second heads. I have so many questions. I'll answer all of them, I tell her. I promise. Just not right now. She nods slowly. Fair enough. But Emma, this is huge. I know. Richard Morrison clears his throat into the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, if we could settle back in, we'll continue with our program. The room gradually quiets, though I can still feel the buzz of speculation in the air. Richard continues. As I was saying, tonight we recognize the individuals and teams whose contributions have elevated Morrison and Associates to new heights in an increasingly competitive landscape. He goes through a list. Project managers who closed major deals. Senior associates who brought in new clients. A team that successfully navigated a complicated international merger. After each name, polite applause. People stand, accept small crystal awards, say a few words of thanks. I'm only half listening. My attention keeps drifting to Marcus's table. He's sitting rigidly, barely touching his food. Vanessa is trying to engage him in conversation, but he's not responding. Adrian notices. Don't give him the satisfaction, he murmurs. What? Of knowing he's getting to you. Don't give him that power. He's not getting to me. Adrian gives me a look that says he knows better. Okay, I admit. Maybe a little. He doesn't deserve even that much. I know he's right. But it's hard, seeing Marcus here with his perfect fiancée, and his performative success. Hearing him tell people I wasn't built for this world. It scratches at old wounds I thought had healed. The main course arrives. Prime ribeye with truffle demi-glaze for most of the table. I'd selected the halibut. Adrian had ordered nothing because he wasn't supposed to be here. A waiter appears instantly. Mr. Stone, my apologies. We didn't have you on the seating chart. May I bring you something? Whatever my wife is having, Adrian says without looking at the menu. Of course, sir. Right away. Conversation at our table has shifted. Now people are directing questions at Adrian, trying not to be too obvious about their curiosity. Failing. How long have you been involved with Morrison and Associates, Mr. Stone? Someone asks. I'm not involved with the firm, Adrian replies smoothly. I'm here to support my wife. But surely you must have some professional connection. No. His tone is polite but final. My wife's work is entirely her own. The message is clear. Don't diminish her by assuming she's here because of me. Catherine jumps in. Emma is one of our most brilliant consultants. The work she's done over the past 3 years has been extraordinary. David Chen nods. The Riverside turnaround alone was remarkable. I've never seen a restructuring executed that flawlessly. I shift uncomfortably. I don't like being the center of attention like this. Adrian senses it immediately. He redirects. David, I read that Morrison is expanding into European markets. How's that progressing? And just like that, the attention moves away from me. David launches into a discussion about challenges with international regulatory frameworks. And I can breathe again. Under the table, Adrian's thumb traces small circles on the back of my hand. A quiet reminder that he's here. That I'm not alone. Ever had someone show up for you when you needed them most? Share your story below. Dessert is being cleared when Marcus finally makes his move. I see him stand. See him say something to Vanessa. She puts a hand on his arm like she's trying to stop him, but he shakes his head. And what he says to me, it reopens every wound I thought I'd closed. Marcus walks across the ballroom toward our table. Catherine sees him coming and tenses. Oh, here we go. Adrian doesn't turn around, but I feel his entire body shift into readiness. Marcus stops a few feet from our table. His hands are in his pockets, trying to look casual. Failing. Emma, he says. Can we talk? Every person at table 9 goes silent. I set down my coffee cup carefully. I don't think that's necessary, Marcus. Please. Just 2 minutes. Adrian's hand tightens on mine, but he doesn't speak. Doesn't intervene. He's letting me decide. I could refuse. Could tell Marcus to go back to his table and leave me alone. But part of me wants this conversation. Wants to look him in the eye and see what he's thinking now that everything has changed. Fine, I say. 2 minutes. I stand. Adrian stands with me. His hand at the small of my back. A subtle statement. She's not alone. We move a few feet away from the table. Close enough that Adrian can still see us, but far enough for privacy. Marcus looks at Adrian, then at me. Can we speak privately? No, I say simply. He exhales. You're married to him? Yes. For how long? 20 months. His jaw works. When we divorced. Were you already seeing him? No, Marcus. I met Adrian 18 months after our divorce was finalized. But you moved on pretty quickly. The accusation in his tone ignites something in my chest. I moved on when I needed to. Just like you did. I let my eyes flick toward Vanessa, still sitting at his table, watching us with poorly concealed anxiety. Marcus flushes. That's different. Is it? Vanessa and we're building something. A real partnership. Good. I'm happy for you. Are you? He steps closer, lowering his voice. Or are you just here tonight to show off your billionaire husband? That's when Adrian speaks. His voice is quiet, but it cuts like steel. Emma didn't know I was coming tonight. She didn't invite me. Didn't ask me to be here. I came because I refused to let her sit in a room where someone is trying to make her feel invisible. Marcus turns to him. This doesn't concern you. My wife's well-being concerns me very much. Your wife. Marcus laughs, but there's no humor in it. Do you have any idea who she was when I married her? She had nothing. No career, no direction, no ambition. Stop. My voice comes out sharper than I intended. You don't get to rewrite history, Marcus. When we married, I was finishing my MBA. I was working 2 jobs to support us while you built your career. And when you finally made senior partner, you decided I was an embarrassment. That's not. You told me I needed to be more ambitious. More social. More like the other partners' wives. You wanted me to quit my consulting work and just attend your events and smile pretty. His face goes red. I wanted you to have opportunities. You wanted me to be an accessory. My voice is steady now. Clear. And when I wouldn't become that, you left. So don't stand here and act like you built me up and I let you down. You tried to make me smaller and I refused. The words hang in the air between us. Marcus stares at me like he's seeing me for the first time. Or maybe seeing clearly for the first time. I didn't know, he says finally. About any of this. About your success. About him. About the work you've been doing. You never asked. That lands hard. I can see it in his face. Richard Morrison's voice cuts through the ballroom. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now approaching the highlight of our evening. Marcus glances toward the stage, then back at me. This conversation isn't over. Yes, I say quietly. It is. I turn and walk back to the table. Adrian is beside me in an instant, his hand finding mine again. We sit. The lights dim slightly. Richard is standing at the podium with a large crystal award on the table beside him. The Morrison Innovation Medal, he says, is our firm's highest honor. It's awarded to the individual whose vision, strategy, and execution have fundamentally redefined what we thought possible. My heart starts to beat faster. Catherine grips my other hand. She knows something I don't. This year's recipient, Richard continues, led the restructuring initiative for Riverside Industries, A company on the brink of collapse. 120 million in projected losses. A workforce of over 3,000 employees facing unemployment. The ballroom is completely silent now. Within 20 months, she turned that catastrophic loss into a 200 million profit. She saved 3,000 jobs. She rebuilt a company's entire operational structure. And she did all of this while working behind the scenes, refusing personal recognition, insisting that credit go to the team she empowered. Oh God. Her approach to corporate strategy has become a model for how we do business at Morrison & Associates. Her integrity is unmatched. Her brilliance is undeniable. Catherine's grip on my hand is almost painful. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's Morrison Innovation Medal goes to Emma Sterling Stone. The ballroom erupts. Applause thunders from every corner of the room. People stand. A standing ovation that makes my chest tight and my eyes burn. I sit frozen. Adrian stands, pulls my chair back gently, his hand on my shoulder. Go, he whispers against my ear. Let them see you. I rise on legs that feel unsteady. The applause continues swelling. I walk toward the stage and the distance feels impossibly long. I pass Marcus's table. He's not clapping. He's just staring at me, his face completely pale. Vanessa is on her feet, applauding, and there are tears in her eyes. She catches my gaze and nods once, a gesture of understanding, of solidarity. I climb the steps to the stage. Richard Morrison is beaming. He hands me the crystal medallion and it's heavy in my hands. Real. Undeniable. He leans toward the microphone. Emma, would you like to say a few words? I should have prepared something. Should have known this was coming. But I didn't. So I take the microphone and speak from the only place I have left. The truth. What would you say in this moment? Drop your answer below. For years ago, I begin, my voice steadier than I feel. I was told I wasn't built for this kind of work. The room goes completely silent. And what I say next, it changes everything, not just for me, but for every person in that room who's ever been made to feel small. For years ago, I begin, my voice steadier than I feel. I was told I wasn't built for this kind of work. The room goes completely silent. I was told I thought too small, that I was too careful, too quiet, too modest. I paused, let the word hang in the air. I believed it for a while. Thought maybe ambition had to look a certain way, sound a certain way. I thought if I wasn't the loudest voice in the room, I didn't deserve to be in the room at all. I see several women in the audience nodding. They understand. But then I learned something. My eyes find Adrian. He's watching me with absolute certainty. Absolute belief. Real power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need to. Real impact happens when you stop performing and start building. When you care more about the work than the credit. When you let results speak louder than self-promotion. I glanced toward Marcus's table. He's staring at the floor now. The Riverside turnaround wasn't about me proving anything to anyone. It was about empowering brilliant people to take risks. To innovate without ego. To focus on solutions instead of status. I hold up the medallion. So I accept this not as recognition for what I did, but for what we all did together. Thank you. The applause that follows is deafening. I step off the stage and Adrian is there, his hand steady at the small of my back, guiding me through the crowd of people who are suddenly standing to shake my hand, to congratulate me, to tell me they had no idea. We make it back to table 9. I sit and my hands are shaking. You were perfect, Catherine whispers. Absolutely perfect. Adrian doesn't say anything. He doesn't need to. The look in his eyes says everything. The program continues, but I barely hear it. People keep approaching our table. Senior partners I've only met once or twice. Clients I've worked with remotely. They all want to congratulate me, to request consultations, to tell me they've been following my work. And through it all, I can feel Marcus watching from across the room. The evening finally winds down. Coffee service ends. People begin to gather their things, exchange final pleasantries, head toward the exits. Vanessa appears at our table. She stops beside me and I see Marcus a few feet behind her, clearly uncomfortable. Mrs. Stone, Vanessa says quietly. I just wanted to say congratulations. That speech was really powerful. Thank you. I reply, genuinely surprised. She glances back at Marcus, then leans closer to me. And I'm sorry. For earlier. When he introduced us. I didn't know the full story. You have nothing to apologize for. Actually, she says, her voice even softer. I think I do. She straightens, nods once more and walks back to Marcus. But something in her posture has changed. She's no longer performing. No longer trying to be what he wants. She's seeing clearly now. Marcus doesn't approach again. He collects his coat, says something to Vanessa, and they leave. But before he goes, he looks at me one last time across the ballroom. And I see it in his face: recognition, regret, the devastating understanding that he walked away from something he never actually valued until it was too late. I feel nothing. Not anger. Not vindication. Just a quiet sense of closure. Catherine hugs me tightly before she leaves. Lunch this week. You're going to tell me everything. Everything. How you married a billionaire without telling your closest friend. Yes. Everything. I laughed despite myself. Lunch on Wednesday. I'll hold you to that. Richard Morrison shakes both our hands. Mrs. Stone, that was one of the finest speeches we've ever had at this event. And Mr. Stone, we'd be honored to discuss potential partnership opportunities. Adrian is polite but firm. Any professional discussions go through my wife first. Richard, this is her domain. Richard nods, properly chastened. Of course. Of course. Finally, we're alone. The ballroom is nearly empty. Staff are clearing tables, dimming lights. Adrian takes my hand. Ready to go home? More than ready. We walk through the now quiet lobby. The valet brings Adrian's car. A sleek black sedan. Nothing flashy. Nothing that screams billionaire. Just elegant and understated. He opens my door, waits until I'm settled, then walks around and slides behind the wheel. For a moment we just sit there in the quiet. You didn't have to come, I say finally. Yes, I did. You had the Tokyo deal. Emma. He turns to face me fully. You think there's a deal on this planet more important than being here when someone tries to make you feel invisible? My throat tightens. He reaches over, cups my face in his hand. You spent 4 years believing you weren't enough. And I will spend the rest of our lives proving that you are everything. A tear slips down my cheek before I can stop it. He brushes it away with his thumb. You didn't come tonight to prove anything. You came because you honor your commitments. Because you do the work even when no one's watching. Because you belong in every room you enter. Whether people recognize it or not. Marcus didn't see that. Marcus saw what he wanted to see. People usually do. His hand is warm against my skin. But I see you. All of you. The brilliance and the strength and the quiet power that doesn't need anyone's validation. I lean into his touch. Let myself feel this. Let myself be seen. Take me home, I whisper. He starts the car and we pull away from the Grand Meridian, leaving the Gala, the applause, and Marcus Hartwell behind. The city lights blur past the window as we drive. Neither of us speaks for a while. We don't need to. After 20 months of marriage, we've learned that silence can be its own kind of intimacy. But there's something I need to say. I was terrified tonight. I admit quietly. Adrian glances at me, then back at the road. Of Marcus. Of seeing him again. Of being in that room with all those people who watched our marriage fall apart and assumed it was my fault. It wasn't your fault. I know that now. But for a long time I believed it was. I believed I wasn't enough. That I'd failed somehow. His hands tighten on the steering wheel. He made you believe that? Yes. I watched the lights outside. And tonight, when I heard him telling those people that I couldn't keep up, that I wasn't built for ambition, I felt it all over again. That shame. That sense of being diminished. But you didn't let it stop you. No, I didn't. Because you're stronger than your fear. I turned to look at him. His profile is sharp in the passing streetlights. Strong jaw. Focused eyes. But it's not his appearance that makes me love him. It's this, the way he sees my strength even when I can't see it myself. We pull up to our building. The doorman opens my door, greets us both warmly. We take the elevator to the penthouse in silence. Inside, I slip off my heels immediately. The relief is instant. Adrian loosens his collar, heads to the kitchen. Wine. Please. He pours 2 glasses of red. We take them out onto the balcony. The city sprawls below us. Millions of lights representing millions of lives. Each one with their own struggles, their own victories, their own moments of being seen and unseen. I sip the wine and finally let myself feel everything I've been holding back all night. The fear, the anger, the vindication, the grief for the woman I used to be, the one who believed Marcus when he said she wasn't enough, and the gratitude for this man beside me, who flew across the world just to sit next to me at a dinner, who claimed me publicly without hesitation, who sees my power as something to celebrate, not something to compete with. What are you thinking? Adrian asks. That 4 years ago, I thought my life was ending. He waits. When Marcus left, I felt like I'd lost everything. Not just him, but my sense of self, my confidence, my belief that I was capable of anything significant. And now, I look at him. Now I realize I didn't lose anything. I was finally free to find everything. He sets down his wine glass and pulls me close. I rest my head against his chest. Listen to the steady beat of his heart. I'm proud of you, he murmurs into my hair. So damn proud. I couldn't have done it without you. Yes, you could have. You were already becoming this person when I met you. I just refused to let you hide it. We stand there in the quiet, and I feel it, that sense of being exactly where I'm supposed to be, with exactly who I'm supposed to be with. Not because he completes me, but because he sees me whole. Tell me in the comments, have you ever been told you weren't enough? Have you ever felt invisible in a room full of people? And if you've dealt with something similar, share your story. You're not alone. Subscribe for more stories about standing your ground and reclaiming your life. The next morning, I wake up to sunlight streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Adrian is already awake, sitting up against the headboard with his laptop balanced on his knees. What time is it? I ask, my voice rough. Almost 9. He closes the laptop and sets it aside. I let you sleep. You needed it. I stretch, feeling the pleasant ache of exhausted muscles. You should be sleeping too. You flew halfway across the world yesterday. I slept on the plane. Liar. Laughs. He smiles. Maybe a little. I sit up and he hands me a cup of coffee from the nightstand. It's already prepared exactly how I like it. 2 sugars, splash of cream. You're too good to me, I say. Impossible. There's no such thing as too good when it comes to you. I check my phone. 57 messages. 18 missed calls. My email inbox has over 200 new messages. It started, I murmur. What has? Everyone suddenly remembering I exist. Adrian leans over to look at my screen. How many of those are from people who ignored you before last night? I scroll through. Most of them. You don't owe them anything. I know. But even as I say it, I'm reading through the messages. Congratulations from colleagues I haven't heard from in years. Partnership offers from firms I've never worked with. Interview requests from business publications. 3 different podcasts want me as a guest. And then I see it. A message from Marcus. Sent at 3:14 this morning. I hesitate, my thumb hovering over it. You don't have to read it, Adrian says quietly. I know. But I open it anyway. Emma. I've been sitting here for 4 hours trying to figure out what to say to you. I'm not sure there are words that can undo 4 years of being wrong about everything. I told myself the divorce was your fault. That you weren't ambitious enough, driven enough, successful enough. I built an entire narrative where I was the victim of your limitations. But last night, watching you accept that award, hearing you speak, seeing the way people looked at you with genuine respect, I realized something devastating. You were always enough. More than enough. I was just too insecure to see it. I needed you to be smaller so I could feel bigger. And when you refused to shrink, I left. I told myself I was upgrading, moving on to someone better. But Vanessa isn't better. She's just different. And I'm realizing now that I don't even know what I want anymore. I just know that I destroyed the best thing I ever had because I was too afraid of being outshined by my own wife. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just needed you to know that you were right about everything. Marcus. I read it twice. Then I set my phone down. What did he say? Adrian asks. That he was wrong. That I was always enough. That he destroyed the best thing he ever had. Do you believe him? I consider this. I believe he believes it right now. Whether he'll still believe it in a week or a month or a year, I don't know. Are you going to respond? No. Adrian nods. Good. You think I should ignore it? I think you've already given him more emotional energy than he deserves. And I think responding, even to tell him you've moved on, gives him more of your time and attention. He's right. I know he's right. I delete the message. Feels surprisingly good. Laughs. And you know what? In that moment I realized something. This is what freedom feels like. Not revenge. Not proving Marcus wrong. Just peace. The freedom to build my own life. To be seen on my own terms. To love and be loved without conditions. For years ago I thought my world was ending. But really? It was just beginning. And standing here with Adrian beside me, my career flourishing, my voice finally heard. I understand something I never could have known back then. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is when someone who made you feel small finally walks away. Because that's when you finally have room to grow into who you were always meant to be. I'm Emma Sterling Stone. And I'm just getting started. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. Drop a comment and let me know which city you're from. I want to see how far this has traveled. And if my story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. Because we all deserve to be seen. We all deserve to take up space. And we all deserve to know that we are enough exactly as we are.